Hi, it's a daily experience video. As you probably know it, I've been on a retreat in the last few weeks, and it's gonna be an experience video of not just a day, but of a whole month. Um, in the update video, I shared a few things about it. Like, it was great and I really needed it, and I experienced a lot of God's peace, and God taught me a lot on my union with Jesus. I experienced a lot of resistance as well, and I got to learn a lot about that. Like, you sometimes think that resistance is from the outside, but it's mostly from the inside. When you spend a few minutes or a few hours a day waiting on the Lord, like, you probably won't experience the same amount of resistance, because when you spend a lot of time waiting on God, you have to face a lot of lies and strongholds in your own brain that you have never experienced before, and it's a bit strange. So that's what happened to me as well. But I had a few amazing moments. Um, they aren't like big experiences, but they meant a lot to me. In the beginning, I was still working a bit, correcting a novel of my sister, and it should have been very boring, like, grammar mistakes, editing, and there was such a presence of God on editing the book. Like, I could, like, sometimes I had to stop it to worship, and uh, sometimes I had to lay on my back and just soak. And one time, Jesus just showed me that some of the scenes of this book are actually real, like they exist in heaven. And he told me I should tell to my sister that most of the fantasy places of this book are actually real in heaven. So, and she just showed me some of those places, and it was so childish and so liberating and so full of joy. I really did enjoy it. And then I continued, like, correcting, and then I started to, like, read a book to, like, learn about, like, editing and things, and every other sentence led me into a conversation with God. Like, I just couldn't read it. I had to put it down and just enjoy Him, or just lay my head on His shoulders, or just imagine how we are one with each other. One of the things I was practicing a lot is my union with Jesus. And how can you practice this? It's a reality independent from your practice. I just I just had some silly games to, like, change my mind into that reality. For example, sometimes I was just imagine him standing next to me, and I was just walking into him, or laying in the bag and turning into him. Or I just felt him, like, using my hands, and saw him, like, raising his hand when I was raising mine. And I literally felt like someone was thinking in me, someone was moving in me, someone was using my skin as a suit. Um, and it was crazy because it was so childish. And agreed to play the game, it turned out that it was so real. Like I literally felt the person in me. I literally felt that there's someone using my brain, using my hands, and living in me. So it was a childish game, and when I agreed with it, it started to manifest and started to show that, oh, I'm way more real than as if it was real, you know. It's just a game, but it's way much more serious than the most serious issue ever. And with my little sister, we developed another aspect of this game. We were like running down the hill, and we just stopped. And we imagined Jesus like running behind us. And when we stopped, he just had to go through us. Um, and it was a fun game to do. Like we were running, stopping, and letting him like run through us. And it's not a magic trick. Like it doesn't make Jesus more close to you or more one with you. He's so one with you. He couldn't be more or less one with you, you know. But it's so weird that and so funny that when you like allow your mind to play these games, they just get a bit more renewed to this reality. And because something changes in your brain, you actually start to manifest it. So when we played this, like he will go through us, we could literally feel it, and it became so real. It was weird. And yeah, it was so full of joy, and it was so great to be a child. So I was playing those games, um, even on mornings when I was waiting on the Lord and my mind was all over the place. When I really had to go, Jesus just told me, like, just imagine me in you. Just imagine me hugging you so much and so close that our bodies melt into each other. And I just, yeah, every time my mind was all over the place, I just imagine me stepping into him or him stepping into me and standing on the same place or laying on the same place. And it was awesome. It was so simple. And the realization of this truth can be like very wild, and it can blow your face off. And it can be a simple, childish joy that, yeah, we are one. Yeah. And I really love like watching cartoons and finding revelations in them. So I was watching Lion King, and there is this song, "He lives in you, he lives in me." The most correct song theologically I've ever listened to, I think. So I was listening to it like for 2 years, for 2 days continuously. And one time, and I was just meditating on like how he is in me and how he is in everyone, and all the segments of the cosmos is full of him. And I was watching through the window, traveling on a tram, and it just hit me. And I can't explain it, but I try to. I literally knew that he was in everyone, and he was in the advertisement, he was in the poster, he was in the pavement, he was in the street lights, he was in the cars passing by, he was in the old lady crossing the street, he was in the young guy selling drug on the corner. You know, it just hit me. Like I could see literally him in everything, and it was so peaceful, because if he is in even those person, this person and that person in this place, then I don't need to protect myself from them. Because if they are also full of God, then I'm safe. Um, and I can't really explain it. I'm sorry, but this realization that he was in all the things I saw made me feel super safe. Like I'm in the middle of him. I don't need to go back to him. I'm in him. Um, yeah, I was crying and watching the buildings passing by, and I was so excited. Like everything is fine. Everything is forever fine. That's how I felt. The only time I felt this was when I saw that I'm in heaven and all the end time thing, whatever it would be, it was over. And all the judgment, all the final words, whatever. I didn't know what they are. I still don't know. But I knew that it was all over and there is nothing left for me to do, just being in Him. And it was so liberating. Not even religious burdens on my shoulder. Like, and that's the same what I felt, but now on the street corner, that I'm forever safe. Everything is forever fine. I also organized some dates with Jesus where I went to some beautiful places in the city. Um, for example, there's a river, Danube, and I went on the bank of Danube, and I was just watching the ducks and swans and how how careless they are. And I was thinking about all this crisis and how much these animals are not affected. Like when it was like minus 20 degrees centigrade and it was really icy, they were standing on the bank as well, and they were fine. They weren't calculating the risk of dying in that winter. Even though some of them has definitely died, most of them has have definitely not. But they are out of this mind game of calculating and risk taking and how much is enough. And I just I just saw God in the creation again. Like even this fallen creation, how it how it works now, you can see that the animals are not as corrupted as humans. Like they didn't develop the system of fear. They just exist. They just live. They just enjoy life. And because they don't make themselves into fearing the icy water, fearing what germs they can be infected with or whatever, they just live. And maybe some of them die of something, but because they didn't develop the system for fear, they have an amazing life. So I was just watching them and I felt like I'm getting infused of God's peace and simplicity, like how He taught creation to be on the first place in the first place. Like it just simply worked. Like no intentional calculation, striving, nothing. It was just what it was. And it worked perfectly because there was no other thoughts. than being. So yeah, all the crisis and virus and all the stuff, I was just watching them and I realized like, oh, it's so simple. It's ridiculously simple. All you need to do is just exist and ignore all the other options in your mind. And I was laying on the bank, I was laying on the tree, just enjoying God's closeness, and it was beautiful. I saw a lot of people posting on Instagram like that there's a beautiful place in the Buddha Castle in Budapest that is in bloom in this season, like pink blossoms everywhere, like 2 kilometers of pink blossoms, and I just there are some trees that are in bloom, but they are very beautiful. Like they look like roses, but they aren't. Probably they are some special kind of cherry blossom. I don't know, but they are beautiful. And everyone was posting on Instagram, and I really felt like maybe I should go there with Jesus. And I felt physically terrible, and it was raining. Not raining, but almost raining. Like there were some drops of water, and I went there, and it was amazing. There was no one, of course, in bad weather who would go there. And I was just walking there and enjoy the smell and view and calmness and all that. And I was like, my life is perfect. Like I felt so much love. It was so romantic. It was the most romantic thing I've ever done. And we were just walking together, stopping by, hugging each other with Jesus. And yeah, I felt so in love. Like I was, I felt like exploding. My heart is full of beautiful words. You know, the psalm, that's how I felt. So we went back and forth, and then we went home and made a great meal. And what I really enjoyed in this season, the simple enjoyment of life, like making good food, going on a walk, watching a good movie, worshiping, sleeping. And I was just, yeah, I just enjoy those very simple things. And it was so good. I used to be depressed, and it's so new and exciting for me to enjoy life. Um, and it's great to actually take time for enjoying life. You can be so busy that you forget it. And now that I wasn't busy, I could just experience the presence of God in those very simple things, like visiting beautiful spots in my city, like 5 minutes away from my home. Yeah, so it was amazing. There were a lot of testimonies coming in about how people's lives are impacted by videos and writings and all that stuff. There was a girl who called me who had experienced a serious spiritual attack. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, it was something strange. And the strange thing was that I experienced the same, but I didn't dare to tell her because it would really like shock her or like, make her even more fearful because she thinks I'm not affected by those things. So I didn't tell her. And I just prayed for her and shared some things about our authority in Christ, and then she wrote to me that this thing has stopped. And the funny thing is that it stopped for me as well after we prayed. So it was great. Yeah. There were some people coming to worship with me every now and then. I didn't go on any ministry thing, but I told to my friends if they feel like to worship with me, then they can do that. And it was great, such a corporate presence. I don't want to like over spiritualize it, but there is something to like experiencing God not alone, but with other people. There's something in the air. And yeah, it was at the point so overwhelming. I had to lay on my back and I couldn't hold myself. And I was just waving for hours with the same worship songs in the background. It was amazing. That was one of the best parts of this month. So now I can't wait what's next and what God is planning. I really want to see way much more of him and yeah, experience my union with him more intensely. Mm, so I'm really waiting for him to shock me again. It was great to experience that peace and tranquility in this month and just the simple presence of God in the everything we do. Um, and I'm looking forward to do all the things He has shown me. He has given me some crazy ideas as well. Um, yes. So I wish that you would receive all the things I had been given to, and way much more. Um, May the heaven fall on you. God bless you guys.